Now, friend, today we are going to learn about Africa, economic and resources of Africa. Africa is the second largest continent, as you have learned further. It's a boundary I told previously, surrounded by Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea, Indian Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean from all around it. And it is almost divided by equator into two equal half. So Africa physical geographical environment, if we see, it is the resource one geography can be considered separately. The original name of if we see, Africa is generally disputed by scholars. Mostly believe that it is seen from the word used by Phoenician peoples, Greeks people, and Roman peoples who had their own logic regarding to its name. Now, important words include the Egyptian words Afro-Ika means the motherlands, and the Greek word Eureka, it means the without cold, means equator passes between it, and most of the zone lies inside the torrid zone. And Latin words Eperisa, it means sunny. Number of factors influence the Africa sunny climate. The equator rarely it bisects the continent into two equal parts, and climate is either sides of the equator, the tropical climates, and close to the equator being the condition closer to the tropic. The climatic is symmetrically disputed, however, the Africa unequal by shape. The northern region contain more land mass and the southern region contain less land mass, more influence ocean factors, and bulging northern sections. Africa northern half is mainly dry, hot, while the southern region is more humid and cool. Climate and agriculture, if we see its agriculture, yeah, unlike other continent, this continent also somewhere it is highly machinized, somewhere people use traditional tools for agriculture. Climatic factors greatly influence Africa agriculture, which is considered to be the continent's single most important economic activities. Agriculture employs two-thirds of the continent working population and contribute 20 to 60% of every country's gross domestic product. GDP is the total value of goods and service produced in a country during 1 year. Important climatic regions of agriculture include tropical wet savanna, desert, Mediterranean, and highlands. Tropical wet conditions occur along the equator, the Gulf of Guinea, and the East Madagascar coast, as well as the temperature remains 27 degrees Celsius to 80, it means 80 degrees Fahrenheit yearly around. Africa precipitation, however, it is 152 centimeter, and inland, if we see the inland, there is 30 centimeter of rainfall up to area as we reach near the desert, and desert contain 25 centimeter of rainfall altogether. So it is coastal line, it is Africa tropical wet climate in contain, and the climate has a vast impacts on its agriculture. Savanna condition occur much in coastal and southern Africa. Temperature have a cooler and more variant in the tropical wet regions. Annual precipitation of this region is 50 and 150 centimeter of rainfall. And the dry season, the savanna contain the long months, and important savanna crops that contain cassava, that is a potato of Africa, you could see, and peanuts, peppers, okara, eggplants, cucumbers, and watermelons are the main crops of Africa. Most of the important good crops are millet and sorghums, so it grown, and desert conditions occurs in northern Africa, and gradually it in the Sahara region, and its shale regions of Sahara, temperature can long range from 50 degrees Celsius temperature at the shadow. Okay, and it is the hottest day due to the freezing on the cold night. So desert has that type of behavior. Indeed, the temperature is very high. In the night time, the temperature is very low. Fluctuation of temperature is very high, and the rainfall is only 25 centimeter of rainfall. So this rain rise important desert crops includes palm, date, cottons are the desert crops. In Mediterranean climate, if we see the conditions occurs along the extreme northern and southern coast of Africa, these regions have a mid-temperature city summers and moderately rainy winters. Important crops includes figs, olive, orange, tomatoes, as well as onions and large vegetation such as cabbage and cauliflower. Highland condition occurs in the highest elevations of Africa, particularly in Ethiopian islands. Temperatures here are much colder than the surrounding lowlands. Precipitation depends on the orientations of the much mountains region is the main causes behind it, which influence the moisture. So rain bearing wind imports highland crops include alfalfa, potatoes and wheats are the major crops of this region. If we talk about the forestry and fishing, now forestry, the reason which we see there is important trees are there. So the after vegetations, forest and important economic activities of Africa, and green forest that depends on the accounts, and 6% of African grasses and domestic uses, and it contain, however, and the other more than the others continent, and Africa evidently forest covering area 0.8 hectare of a land is per person been said to be the forested area, and whether the central western Africa there is the having vast and heaviest forest. The forest sector contribute African 60% of the GDP. The export forest product, especially high grade significant revenue. These woods are mostly found in the countries like Congo Basin, Cameroon and Central Africa, like Congo, Gabon and the Equatorial Guinea. With the dense forest and Okorom, for example, a countable plant, it is the 90% of the trees logged in a Gabon, and the wood are generally exported to Japan, Israel and the European countries. Mahogany, if we see with the Akoram, are used for everything from the homes to the musical instrument and lightweight aircraft. If you might have seen piano, you might have seen cricket bat, these are the made from this wood. African forest sector, however, suffer from illegal logging and over harvesting. Certain trees species, many species are in danger by over harvesting, eventually destroying the forest habitats, and that causes the effects in the ecosystem. So these logs are regular basis. The forest habitat being destroyed, trees thrives being destroyed, and agriculture and development being continue, and the deforestation is over. If we see forestry and fishing, today Africa turned between the developing its forest for their fullest economic potentiality and protecting this natural landscape from overdevelopment. For instance, the Central African regions, if we see, Forest Commission regulates the African forest sector and promotes the subsequent use of the it. The Congo Basin's rainforest products, as well as the Commission created the Sanga Tri-National Landscape reserve that covers more than 1 million hectares, 2.4 million acres of a rainforest in Cameroon. The Central African Republic and the Republic of Congo Africa is a fishing industry provides the income to more than 10 million people and has an annual export value of 2.7 billion dollar. Africa has fishery, if we see, it is a more in a coastal region and then in the inland, and the great lakes are there, Nile rivers is there, instant to support the huge freshwater fisheries. Besides, marine fisheries is also important, and like coastal region of the country, Western Africa, and mostly economically it depends on the fishing, and like we see 4.5 million tons of a fish and 300 2000 we had seen this record, sorry, and Namibia is the in South Africa are the major players in marine fish market, and exporting 80 to 90% of their fish yearly, and the East African countries like Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, and Kenya have a well established the fishing in the sea and Indian Ocean. Small such a herring and sardines, these are the fish and most commonly catches in the African coastline. However, the large fish such as tuna, cod, hake and haddocks are the mostly profitable fish are found here. Africa extensively inland fishery contain more than 300 fishes species, and which account for the two-third of global inland fish productions, unlike marine fish. यदि हामी साथीहरू यो 3,000 जातिका स्पेसिसका माछाहरू र वर्ल्डका 2/3 इनल्यान्ड फिस चाहिँ अफ्रिकाले उत्पादन गर्दछ। Catchable area हामी देख्दछौँ अफ्रिकाको fisheries not for the exported. These are inland fish are for the local consumption only, which is the main source of protein for the people there. Africa Great Lakes support our largest inland fisheries on the continent. Lake Victoria, it has a most productive fishery, freshwater fishery in the world, producing more than 500 tons fish, which worth $600 million everywhere. The Nile, if we see, is a highly priced catch and can weigh more than 45 kilogram fish, and that fish are TPE. The Lakes Victoria dominate the commercial fish species, and like forestry sector, Africa fishing sector is also suffer from over harvesting. As a result, in the past, countries' fish product have declined by up to half in the species been caught. So the partnership for African nations, they conclude that implemented Africa fisheries sector. So PAF will focus on African sticker regarding to the environments, and so there must be the sustainable use of the fish. If we see mining and drilling, first mining, DRC, Zimbabwe, here we could see. Now, Africa is a major producer of important metals and minerals. Metals exported by African country include uranium, which is used for nuclear energy, platinum, which is used for jewelry industry applications, and nickel used for stainless steel, and magnets, coin, and rechargeable batteries, which we bauxite, a main aluminium ore, and cobalt used in mainly for making pigment. Africa, two most profitable minerals resources are gold and diamond. In 2008, Africa produced about 483 tons of gold, which is the 22% of the world's total production. See how rich Africa is. South Africa accounts for almost half of Africa's gold productions, a single country. Ghana, Guinea, Mali and Tanzania are also the major producer of gold. Africa diamonds, global diamond market, if we see 2008, the continent produced 55% of the world diamond in the world. So Africa is the biggest diamond producing continent in the world. Botswana, Angola, South Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Namibia are the African largest producer of a diamond. Unfortunately, several African conflicts have been seen there. Civil wars have been seen there, funded by the diamond industry. Diamonds that come from this region are known as a conflict diamond or blood diamond. In 2002, the United Nations created the Kimberley Process Certifications Scheme, KPCS, which is in order to clarify the diamond from the source that is the free from conflict area or free from blood. Okay, that only could be bought and sold in the international market. So to prevent from war, okay, that money been on and that is been invested in a war. Countries that do not meet KPCS requirements are not allowed to trade with such the rest of the world. The Republican of Congo, the Democratic Republican of Congo, and the Côte d'Ivoire have all been expelled at the same point in the last decade. They could not sell their diamond. Africa is a home of selected deposits of oil and natural gas with all drilled for energy and fuel. In 2007, the continental produced 12.5% of the world petroleum productions, which is 6.45 percentage of the world total natural gas production. Nigeria, Libya, Algeria, Egypt, and Angola dominates the Africa's oil industry, while explorations in the significantly increase on the continent, and many countries include the looking the this first time a producer become such a product of oil making. Oil and industrial gas production have also been connected in a civil conflict area. Okay, there is also conflict. If you see Nigeria, guerrilla group have attacked oil infrastructure and stolen oil from pipelines, and since monitors say foreign oil companies have exploited the laborers while keeping most of the wealth, and they also charge that out of debt, the equipments have severely polluted the air, soil and water resources. This pollution has loaded the loss of arable lands as well as the fish stocks been decreasing from the water. However, the severe action of these guerrilla groups have also increased pollutions as they have damaged the environment equipments, and the attacks have also reduced the productions of the production and a lack of income, as many companies are forced to shut down by guerrilla attack. Now, built environment, man-made environment. Africa natural resources economic contribution greatly continents built environments and human man-made environments structure. The largest engineering project of urban areas are directly linked to the productions and the trade of resources such as water, oil and minerals, and much like resources economics described above, Africa infrastructure suffers from poor management and inefficient government regulation. Africa home to a number of engineering marvels, and as a figure shows you, Aswan Dam, a complex of two dams. Aswan, Egypt captures the world's longest river, the Nile, in the world's third largest reservoir, Lake Nasser. The Aswan High Dam, the newer larger, and the two dams produce more than 10 billion kilowatt hours electricity every year, so enough power about the 15% of the country of Africa. The Aswan Dam complex regulates the floods on the Nile River and stores the waters for agriculture, while farmland has increased by 500% as a result of the dam. Land and fertility has decreased. See, the farming land has been increases, but their fertility of soil has been decreases. Why? Nutrient-rich silt is unable to spread over the Nile Valley because of the trapped by Lake Nasser. So the Effervescent gold mine outside the Johannesburg, South Africa, is one of the largest gold mine in the world. The mine is made of the 8 shafts that reach a depth of 3,352 meters, 11,000 feet ground. The Driefontein gold mines outside the Johannesburg, South Africa, is one of the largest gold mine in the world. यो संसारको सबैभन्दा एउटा ठुलो gold mine हो. The mine is made of 8 shaft that reaches a depth up to 3,352 meters, I mean 11,000 feet in the ground. One of the shafts is in the process of being deepened to about 4,115 meters, I mean 13,500 feet, making the deepest mine in the world. र संसारको सबैभन्दा गहिरो माइन भनेर यसलाई भनिन्छ. With extreme depth, making a mining operation incredibly dangerous at Driefontein. अब यो खतरा यस अर्थमा हुन्छ कि यसले हट मोल्टेन रकलाई बाहिर निक्लिने मद्दत गरोस्, which has one of the worst records for the employee fatalities in the industry. The industry is failed to give good facilities to its worker. The built environment, you could see Lagos at the top, the city on water. 2 urban areas that demonstrate Africans' uneven growth are Lagos and Nigeria. In Nigeria and Johannesburg in South Africa. Both of these large cities have distinct economic engines that make them favorable for growth of at the same time. Each faces similar problems as a result of this growth. Lagos, if we talk about in Africa, second most populous city with a population is about 10.2 million people live there. Lagos is growing 10 times faster than the New York City. See, in North America, New York we are talking about, New York or Los Angeles or California of the United States. The United Nations estimated that the Lagos will one of the largest mega cities in the world of 2015. Definitely it has already been. Lagos is the commercial and the industrial hub of the Nigeria, which has a gross domestic product that is triple than Gulf of Guinea and the adjacent to the Niger Delta. Lagos is the center of oil extraction, refineries and export. So the city is tied to the rise and falls of oil price, and certainly this extreme wealth on the as well as the poverty is seen there. Lagos underground growth has created sprawling and chaotic urban landscape in a scene. Poor immigrants from the rural Nigeria have run in there the city, and it makes crowded because of economic opportunity. They are looking for it, and residential zones and been overcrowded. Overcrowding of 6 people per room, and slums community we could see growing rapidly, taking over the unsuitable areas such as nearly lagoons and lakes been overcrowded. Lagoons suffer from the water shortage and a poor sanitation solves that the heavy traffic. Government bodies and urban developers are ending the difficulties to keep up the Lagos rapid growth. If we talk about next the Johannesburg, you could say Johannesburg here. Johannesburg is the largest city of South Africa with a metropolitan municipality population is over 7 millions, and Johannesburg is also the world's largest city, not situated as a river or a lake or a coastline. The city is developed around the gold and the diamond industry, situated in the mineral-rich mountain range. The mining operations are gradually going on, basing importance. Johannesburg mostly mine companies will have their headquarters there, and the wealth and trade are going on for these companies, and manufacturing industries are there. Supported Africa, largest stock exchange, and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange is there. Such as Johannesburg has become the financial hub or the African continent, much like Lagos, Johannesburg's on regulated development has caused a certain infrastructure problem during the last 4 decades. Johannesburg, inner city of Hillbrow, has suffered from the poor planning and the lack of investment. Hillbrow, known as a high level of unemployment, poverty, and crime areas, is there. Johannesburg officials are being solving these problems by reinvesting in the Hillbrow's downtown business. Besides the Johannesburg making to far city and high level of unemployment could see by participation in one of the world largest informal economy. The informal economy, sometimes called black market also, and in the informal economy, goods and the other services exchange without the taxes and money going on to the government being stopped, and large population of Johannesburg, mostly immigrants are there, and they have become only cash only vendors who not work in any official entity. And these informal economic activities have caused obviously problem to the labor and commerce results, and without knowing how many people are employed without money, or how much money the labor will take, are making this all sorts of problem. So how they making it, this is the increasing difficulty to track the city's economic and progress. Thank you, friend.